Welcome back to the Navy Sports Magazine, brought to you by the Navy Federal Credit Union. Time to shine a light on the Navy rifle team right now with Mark Amdahl. And Mark, certainly, senior year now in this journey. You go back to when you were shooting, obviously, in high school. So rifle certainly was on your radar, unlike some competitors when they arrive at service academies or even schools in the civilian area that have rifle. When did the recruiting trail really begin? Dad, of course, was in the Air Force. So when did Navy pop up on the radar?
I'd say actually I was really fortunate because Coach Ante was the assistant coach at Air Force. And we were at some national match at the Olympic Training Center, and Coach Ante approached me wondering if I wanted to go to Air Force for it. But that's where I really wanted to go. I was super interested in going there, and my dad went to Air Force, so that was my number one choice, but it just didn't work out there. And Navy was the one who took me, and I got a prep school slot through the foundation program. And I was super excited because being in the military is all I wanted to do. And I was super thankful that Coach was able to transfer here. And that's where it all started.
The fact that you saw your dad and his service to this country, is that where that feeling of wanting to be in the military really started for you?
Yes. The influence I got from my dad, and just living in a military family and having that experience was where it all stemmed from.
You hit the scene pretty quickly here at the academy with a couple of 591s right out of the gate. Did that give you the confidence? Because this sport, as I've talked to different rifle athletes through the years, yes, it's a team concept, but more often than not, when you hit the range, you're by yourself. It's you, your scope, and that target. Did that kind of put you at ease though early in your freshman year that I can answer the bell at this level?
I'd say so. Yeah. I think I was very fortunate in high school to be in the program I was in. I was in a well-funded rifle team, and it was through JROTC, and that helped me a lot to start where I was as a plebe. But even now, I think I'd say I have a lot of confidence in where I am, especially in rifle, especially in air rifle. I've grown a lot of confidence and throughout the years.
And obviously, when you achieve a number that gets you, a school record at a place like the Naval Academy, where rifle is taken quite seriously, to see that you've been able to progress this far now into your senior year, happy with the progress you've made? Certainly, I know there's still some goals to be attained out there, but happy with the progress you've been able to make here across 4 years?
Yeah, and having the coaches I have now, I wouldn't be able to do it without them. And they're extremely encouraging and motivating, and they help me set my goals, and they make it super simple for me to see where how I can get to my goals, and very reachable.
How critical is that? Because we look at team sports and even other individual sports where coaching, certainly is a factor. Coaching is a great assistance for many. In your discipline, what are the keys that you're listening for from the coaches that you can then take to the range to try and improve in what you're doing out there?
I'd say it's just the constant reminders of my skills and the mental factor into the sport, because they're not holding the gun. I'm doing all the trigger pulling, but sometimes you get carried away and get hard on yourself, and you forget the basics, and they're there to remind me of the basics.
How important is it to just breathe and try to be as calm as you possibly can out there on the range?
Well, the famous words of Coach Ante is relax, squeeze, and follow through. And those are the three things you need to shoot a good shot.
What is it about him? Because I'm always enthused by when we've been able to meet as a group for, the sports banquets and everything. Coach has actually brought apparatus to those banquets so people can become familiar with it, to certainly give us a better idea of what you and your teammates are doing out there on the range. But what is it about him that obviously you respect quite a bit as a coach?
his experience is I respect a lot, and he knows what he's talking about. And although I'd say the sport is changing, and I think it's getting more advanced, and the scores are getting much higher than it was years ago. He just knows the sport like the best out of anybody I know, and he always just sticks to the basics. And like I can see it in like the Olympians and the people who are my age and they're shooting such like world record scores, like they're doing the basics and they're sticking to them. And that's something I see in my coach is he is a very traditional shooter and he sticks to it.
Is that easier said than done, sticking to the basics in your sport?
Yes. It's much easier to get off course and not do the basics.
Is that a physical thing or is that a mental thing though, as it pertains to your sport?
It's a mental thing. You can get carried away with bad shots, and one bad shot could just, if you let it, it could be detrimental to the entire match.
For you, air rifle, small bore, any preference one way or the other through the course of the years you've been doing this?
I prefer to shoot air rifle. Shooting small bores, it's great and it's fun. And it's a good mix between having three different positions, but shooting air rifle can get kind of monotonous, shooting 60 shots standing. But I think at the end of the day, I think I'd rather get up there and shoot 60 shots air rifle.
There are very few competitions for you all, especially when you're competing with other teams or even as an individual in an event. There's very few events where you're not competing against quality people. The one thing I've always asked individual athletes, over the years that I've been doing this, how do you deal with the competition part where you individually could shoot a personal best, and that day individually, it might not be good enough because someone else has done better than that? To me as a competitor, that would be the toughest part to deal with, at least in my mind.
So I'm going to brag about myself for a second, but when we shot against Kentucky, I shot my best score, which was 5.99, and Will Shaner has a gold medal in the Olympics.
Right.
And he also, I beat him. And the one thing that I just thought about before I shot against him was like, he's not any different than me. Mm-hmm. And he's not in any different place. He's not built different. Like he might have a different gun, but his gun's not better. You just got to remind yourself that these people are no different than who I am. And they're just in a different place. That's all it is.
Is that part of the mental thing that we talk about, not worrying about who the competitor is, just you, the scope?
Yeah, I'm only competing with myself.
Right.
And the score will take care of itself.
Obviously, there are still some goals to attain. What are they here for you? And do you kind of look at this as kind of like we really are coming to the end of this journey here at Navy? Right.
And it's coming really quick. I'd say for the big goals for the team and for myself is like the simple one is just to beat Army. I have to graduate finishing beating Army in it. And then make it to the NCAA championships as a team. And placing there.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that the academy as a whole this year has had unprecedented success, certainly in star competition versus Army. Y'all kind of feed off that momentum that other teams around the yard have established here so far in this academic year?
Yes. I like watching other sports, and I try to go as many sports events as possible, but whenever they beat Army, it's like, okay, it's our turn next to do it.
For you individually, what are your hopes and goals, and have you really thought about it post-graduation here?
Well, I sort of selected SWO EDO, and I'm excited just to go out into the fleet and just hold that career as a surface warfare officer, and hopefully I can find my passion out there and new passions out in different sports.
Mark, appreciate the time. Best of luck to you and your teammates with what remains of this season. And as we say, go Navy, beat Army.
Of course, beat Army.